Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
Some players just kind of fit what it is when you're just like, this is a guy that's easy to root for. I mean, it starts, number 76 on our countdown. His name is Stone. His name is Stone Blanton, and he plays linebacker. And some things, they're just written. You know what I mean? And so, you get this kind of old school thumper linebacker freak athlete dude whose name's Stone. He's hard-hitting. He's mean as hell. He played in not one but two SEC schools. And just, captain, leadership, all these different things. He's just fun as hell. We had him on the show. We did a full interview. If you want to go check that out, just type in Stone Blanton interview to pull up all over, YouTube or wherever you're watching. Dude was cool as hell. His family's interacted a lot with the show and stuff, and they seem awesome. Just got married. Gets drafted, or, he's a priority free agent, gets signed to the Niners, and then gets married a week later. In the midst of in the middle of all that, he makes time for us in the 49ers Rush program to help the faithful get to know him. We're going to play a couple clips from that. But Stone Blanton, linebacker, special teamer, comes in number 76 on this list. And the linebacker position is that and probably safety are the two positions on this defense where you have the bodies. Depth is not a concern. And so it is a very crowded room, that linebacker room. Again, I'm already out of order, but you're kind of first three guys, Fred Warner, obviously, D. Winters, Nick Martin, whichever order you want to put them in. Then there's just a bunch of guys behind them fighting for spots. Tatum Bethune, Luke Gifford, Jalen Graham, Curtis Robinson, probably going to start the league off on the pup, Stone Blanton, Chad Surratt. But that's a lot of bodies in the linebacker room, but you got to remember, none of those holdovers were around besides Fred Warner when Robert Saleh was here last. So you've got a new DC, and you bring in not one, not two, but three linebackers this offseason. That's just through the draft and undrafted free agents. You bring in they're wanting to reshape this room. And because of that, that's why Stone Blanton, he comes in 76 on our list, but there's something about this guy. 6'2", 230, 22 years old, ran a 4.61 40-yard dash, 33-inch vertical, 24 bench press reps. And what's interesting, you plug in his measurables in the mock draftable and all that stuff. His number one comp is now his position coach, who also played at the same college, Mississippi State, KJ Wright Jr. KJ Wright was with the Seattle Seahawks and all that stuff, and now he's the linebacker coach, one of them, Johnny Holland, obviously, and KJ Wright. But, talk about fits, you know what I mean? Jalen Smith was another one. Mark Nazocha is another one. Just guys that have similar athletic build and, measurables to Stone Blanton. It just makes sense. It just fits. At high school, Mississippi boy, went to Ridgeland High School and went to South Carolina and started as a freshman, became a captain for South Carolina as a sophomore, was with them for a few years, then transferred conference to Mississippi State in 2024 and was an absolute stud there. And this is a kid that he was a legit baseball player. Got offered a scholarship to play baseball for several schools and was got a kind of two-way play through South Carolina football, baseball. It was just too much time, and he realized he had to kind of focus and all that stuff, and so chose football. His name's Stone Blanton. He needs to play football. Let's just be real. But was a 4-star recruit coming out, and eventually transferred closer to home, Mississippi, where he was born and raised. Academic district. He was an academic honor roll multiple years in the SEC, multi-year starter, 1,300-plus snaps as a starter the past 2 years. Captain his sophomore year, and just, man, we had the chance to ask him, Stone Blanton, dude, talk to us about your leadership. Here's what he had to say. What is your approach in the locker room and the huddle, how you handle teammates? What would you say is your leadership style? Now, you're coming in as a priority free agent, but what are some of your leadership techniques and kind of how you lead by example, or are you more of a vocal guy out there on the field?
I think it comes with confidence. Freshman year, it's all about gaining trust of your teammates. I'll just do college because that's kind of the experience I've had to this moment. But freshman year, you just gain the trust of your teammates. You you find an older guy to connect with that kind of shows you the way, shows you the right way, um, and just find that, and then do what he does and mold it to what you do, and create a routine based off of that, and then if there's team events, you go to them. You're always trying to be around your teammates. You don't sit by yourself. Don't have headphones in. Like, really, just try to communicate with the guys around you, because those are your brothers that you're going to be going to war with, and so you need to get to know 'em. So if you don't have trust on the football field, you're not going to succeed. If you don't have trust off the field, then you're probably not going to have great trust on the field. And so, you want to be a person that they can depend on off the field and on the field. I think that translates very well. And so, just doing team activities together, eating together, sharing a meal, watching film together, just, stuff that just builds a camaraderie of teammates that are willing to do anything for each other, I think is really important. And that's a culture, I love and want to be a part of. And I feel like the 49ers, just the way people talk about them, like they have that brotherhood kind of mentality. And so that's just kind of my goal.
Like and one of the things that came across with interviewing him was just how much film is such a part of his life. Well grounded, and you could just kind of tell, like, man, eating together, being together, spending time together, watching film together. That is exciting. And whenever you look at Fred Warner, who's the best linebacker in football, you might go down as one of the best of all time, that dude lives at the 49ers facility. And so the fact that he gets to be around that, Fred Warner's at the 49ers facility every damn day. There's nobody that is, he moved his entire family there. They're there. Fred Warner is in the 49ers building nonstop. So now Stone Blanton gets to replicate that and see how that's modeled before him. Now, he did not get drafted, but, man, absolutely went out there and just, 184 tackles. That's his, career total, 7 tackle for loss, 1.5 sacks, 1 interception, 3 pass breakups. And you look at what he was able to do, PFF score-wise, 79.8 overall in the SEC, 86.4 run defense. The 49ers' number one priority this offseason defensively, stop the run. That's what he does. 70.7 tackling grade, 60.7 coverage grade. That's one of the things he's going to have to work on. He's a run stuffer. So you've got, Tatum Bethune, who fits that same mold. Now you got Stone Blanton that fits that same mold. Who can contribute on special teams? That's going to be the deal breaker. Because I'm going to be really honest, Tatum Bethune struggled on special teams all year. He didn't play well in space. You don't see that with Stone Blanton. You sure as heck don't see that with Chad Surratt, who Brant Boyer brought over. So, if we're just looking at the special teams, Chad Surratt's ahead of all those linebackers fighting for a spot. But if you look at the linebacker play, all right, now that's a little bit of a different story. Again, talked about how he just got married. He eventually settles with the 49ers. 3-year, $2.9 million deal, which is pretty standard for priority free agents, but got $92,000 guaranteed. One of 2 priority free agents that got guaranteed money. So you can tell the 49ers definitely prioritized that whenever they were targeting Stone Blanton. And I asked him, man, talk us through draft day and how crazy that was and what that was like.
Yeah. So the whole day was kind of a crazy process. I was kind of a late round guy, more likely an undrafted free agent kind of deal. And, I didn't know it was going to be like, had heard some stories, like, it's considered the 8th round right after the draft, all this stuff for the priority free agent guys. And it's true. Like, even in the middle of the draft, like, I was getting calls like, hey, we have an offer for you, kind of free agent deal. What do you think? And it's like, well, I mean, I don't even, the draft's not even over yet. I don't know. And then immediately after, you have your agent kind of is doing the communication for you and then comes back with the deals. And so you're just kind of anxiously waiting to see what happens. And, spots fill up quick. And so it's a crazy time, but I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed the moment. I was with people I loved and got to enjoy that day. So super excited when it was actually Coach Wright, KJ Wright called me, and he's a Mississippi State alum, a legend at Mississippi State, played forever in the league, Super Bowl, all the stuff. And so, to have him call me to tell me that news, it meant a lot to me. Just two Mississippi guys that played at Mississippi State and making it to the league.
How cool is that? Like, the guy you're comped to, who you went to the same college as, and now he's your position coach. And not only that, he calls you to let you know they want you. That's just awesome. Now, my tape breakdown of Stone Blanton, run stuffing linebacker that struggles in the pass. The grades reflect that. The tape reflects that. Relies on instinct since his lack of ideal athleticism. He's a little bit of... He doesn't have the elite traits that a lot of the Saleh, undersized, highly athletic linebackers have, but the instincts are there. Like, you could tell, tape. You watch it. You watch his tape, and you're like, this dude knows what the hell's coming his way, almost at all times. Right here, quote in my draft write-up, knows where to be at all times, end quote. Making the play is a different story. So the instincts are on par. The body's there. Just can the athleticism and everything translate, and can he not be a liability in the passing game? That's what it's going to take for him to get, on this roster. Now, a likelihood with such a deep linebacker room is probably not going to make the 53. And we have him 76, right? 53 guys make the roster, so he's about 23 spots out. But I do think long-term, 100% going to be on somebody's practice squad. And now the question is, can the 49ers sneak him through cuts, get him back on the practice squad? Because you kind of paid for it. So whenever you gave the $92,000, you basically already paid for his full year of practice squad eligibility. But is he going to choose to come back? That's kind of the question. If I was a linebacker and I had the choice to play for any team, the 49ers would be very high on the list. Obviously, you look at how much money Robert Saleh has made other linebackers. Like, good Lord. Dre Greenlaw late, Azeez Al-Shire late, Jamie Sherwood late, Fred Warner late. Like, the dude is just King Midas whenever it comes to linebackers, not to mention Johnny Holland, who's a legend. And now you got KJ Wright, who I would argue either him or Gus Bradley probably going to be the next defensive coordinator for the 49ers. So you kind of just stay through that. And, speaking of Johnny Holland, he was talking about, just how big it was and how impressed he is of Stone Blanton. He said, quote, once he showed up and learned, once he was there, he got it. And so you'd love to see that. And so I'm excited about Stone Blanton. Obviously easy to root for and excited to see what he could bring to the 49ers. It's just, can he hang on? Can he beat out some of those guys, whether that's Jalen Graham, Curtis Robinson's going to be injured. And you don't have to concern it. Chaz Surratt, can you be as good on special teams as he is day one? If you can, if Stone Blanton can go out there and do Chaz Surratt special teams work, he wins that job because he offers more on the linebacker room. But can he make that up in special teams? Can you beat out Tatum Bethune as a linebacker? I think you can beat out Tatum Bethune in the special teams. It's just, can you be a better linebacker than Bethune? Can you be a better special teams player than Chaz Surratt? You do both, you're making this roster. You're on the 53. You only do one, you're probably going to get cut and get brought back. You don't do either, your time here is probably done. So that's kind of what's up there for Stone Blanton, and I'm excited to watch him. And, man, that was a fun interview. If you haven't watched it, it's about a 15, 20-minute interview. Just type in Stone Blanton interview to pull up and get to know the player better. It was a lot of fun. But thank you to, Josh, Ben, and Zach, executive producers of the show. And for us, the 49ers Rush team, we'll just keep counting them down.